There's something similar between you and me. We were raised to believe that having a debt is such a bad idea, a bad thing, and a bad habit. That it is an absolute no and a definite no. Borrowing money is actually synonymous to being poor and belonging to the lower class. But that's not the case. Even the richest people in the world have got debts in billions and millions of dollars. So today I'm going to discuss with you the difference between a good debt and a bad debt. But before we get to this, please know that debt will always be debt. And whatever steps we take and actions we take, it always comes with a risk that we have to manage ourselves. So please let me start by defining what is debt. Debt is owing something to somebody else. And at some point in our lives, we will always incur one. We will be indebted to somebody else. Now, this could be in the form of money, services, or materials. My focus for today will be more of money. So, what is bad debt? Bad debt is when we borrow money to pay for something or an activity that eventually will lose its value over time. Most of the time, we borrow this money to buy things that we never need. We don't need. Rather, we just want them. We just want to have them. Now, good debt, on the other hand, is when we borrow money to pay for something or an activity that will increase your return on investment or increase its value in time. Now, what are examples to this on the perspective of being a good debt and a bad debt? Let's start with a very simple thing, the cell phone. Now, if you get into debt through the phone plans by having the newest phone year after year after year, then that's a definite bad debt. Why do I say so? Phones guarantee that it will lose its value in just a year's time. Now, how does that happen? Because there is always a new model that comes out year after year after year, and you just want to have them. Now, on top of it losing its value, you have to pay for a new casing, a new headset, your new selfie stick, just because the old one is no longer compatible with the new phone that you've got. And on top of this is your bills. You need an internet to access your multiple social media accounts and insurances if you have one, and other expenses that you have to pay for. So they are just bringing out money out of your pocket. They are liabilities. Now, how does this become good debt? If you leverage a phone to use for work, now you could be an outbound caller, then it brings you money. If you're from the Philippines, you could be an outsourced reloading person, or you sell postpaid loads, then it brings you money. Now, the catch is, as long as you use this phone until it loses its functionality, then it has paid what it's worth for. Number two, car. If you are buying a car for the purpose of luxury, where unfortunately most or a great number of Filipino population has got this mentality, then absolutely you're putting yourself in such a bad debt. You are on the road to becoming poorer than you are at the moment. Now, how does this become a good debt? If you buy a car to improve the services of your own business, of whatever you do that brings money to you, a greater return on income or investment, then it's a good debt. Number three, student loans. This isn't applicable in the Philippines. We don't have such a thing. I'm not really sure if the bank has opened one that will cater to student loans, then it's a good thing. In the United States of America, they've got student loans, and in Australia, we call it HECS. Now, on the good perspective, student loans is used to pay for your tuition fees, your books, and your living expenses. It is good in the sense that it upgrades your skills by sending you to school. Now, when you finish your schooling, you get out there and be someone who is wanted because you finished a degree. Now, the bad catch here is it will be a bad debt, a definite bad debt, if you don't search for a job. Now, you don't start with searching, you land a job. And not just with landing, you have to start paying for what you owe for that student loan. So otherwise, it just incurs interest after interest after interest. The power of compounding interest applies to you, only that it gets more money out of your pocket. It's such a huge liability. So just be careful with student loans. Number 4, personal loans. Now, if you are borrowing money from institutions like the banks, credit unions, co-ops, or an individual, probably your family, your parents, your friends, just to pay for your holiday or your vacation, for a new phone, or for a birthday party. Now, it's such a bad idea. I cannot count the number of times I've been saying on my previous videos that if you want to do something, if you want to go somewhere else, please try to plan for them and save for them rather than getting into that just to have that one. You have to develop the habit of postponing your gratification. Now, how does this become a good debt? Personal loan. Personal loan will become a good debt if you use them to invest in a business, to invest them in your education. That's upgrading your own value. And that in turn will bring you greater or higher return on investment. And that becomes a good debt. Number 5, credit cards. It's synonymous to personal loans. You've got this plastic money that's not really existing money. It also becomes a bad debt if you use them for things you don't really need. Now, how does this become a good debt? Say, if you leverage this money to invest in a business, invest in yourself, then yes, you get the greater return. The one thing that's good with credit card as well, if you really know how to use them, say you really ran out of budget, there's an emergency that you have to pay for and you've got nothing and your bill is due, you use your credit card to pay for it, and then you pay that credit card before the due date, then yes, you have put the credit card into good use. But if you develop the habit of just postponing the dates of when you're going to pay them, then you're just incurring additional charges on you. Now, guys, as a general rule of thumb, if you don't need it, if you can't afford it, please never ever buy them. Just choose your things that you do or the activities or the decisions that you take wisely. That's it for today. God bless and be a blessing.